The Red Raiders had a busy weekend on the official visitor front as well as news within the portal. In today's video, we'll discuss it all as one key portal target commits elsewhere and Texas Tech hosts two more prime portal targets. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And yeah, I know the stuff behind me is gone in the middle of moving, but I had to get you guys this information when it came to Texas Tech men's basketball in the transfer portal. So if you want more transfer portal news and to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball, whether it's happening on the hardwood or in the portal and in the recruiting trail, all you got to do is simply like the video. All right, let's jump right into this because there's going to be four players that we will talk about that Texas Tech has shown interest in within the portal in today's video. Let's start with the unfortunate news. Well, if you're a Texas Tech fan, that is, with Andrew Carr committing to the University of Kentucky. He was a prime portal target for the Red Raiders and was actually on campus this past week on Friday. He had a couple of visits lined up back to back to back. He went from Texas Tech to Kentucky to Villanova and ended up going with Mark Pope in the Wildcats there in Lexington. Again, this one's a big loss for the Red Raiders. This was a guy that I thought was a potential all Big 12 type talent at the 5 spot for Texas Tech. Unfortunately, if you're a Texas Tech fan, once again, he goes to Lexington to play for Mark Pope. Now, when it comes to the official visitor notes this past weekend that were on campus for more than one day, it sounds like Texas Tech is in pretty good shape. Let's start with the guy from the D1 ranks, and that is Elijah Hawkins, the Minnesota transfer guard that stands 5'11", 175 pounds, has 1 year of eligibility remaining, averaged about 9.5 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists per game last year for the Golden Gophers up there in Minneapolis. Now, he was on campus starting on April 27th, so Saturday, April 27th, and by all accounts, everything went really, really well for his visit, and Texas Tech is actually in really solid position. Now, he did post on Instagram for some of you guys that like to go on social media and try and extract things on the recruiting trail. He posted his Texas Tech photos with the hashtag #NotCommitted over on Instagram. You saw the likes of Darrion Williams, D5. You saw Chance McMillian on there in terms of the commenting, hey, you know what to do, come home, everything like that. It was also really cool to see Texas Tech football 5-star wide receiver Micah Hudson in the comment section there for Elijah Hawkins, who posted those photos with the hashtag #NotCommitted on there. But from all accounts, it sounds like Hawkins had a great visit from what we're hearing over at the Scarlet and Black Insider from the 806 and everything in terms of what we're hearing with people with boots on the ground there. And Texas Tech is in a really good spot to potentially land a lead guard in the portal. Again, that is Elijah Hawkins from Minnesota. Now, we move on, and this one's interesting because I had a lot of people, comment NAIA. What are they doing going after an NAIA guy? Like, hey, let's calm down a little bit. This guy can hoop. Now, and he's not coming in there to be a starter right away. And, of course, I'm talking about Javan Buchanan. He is a 6'7" sophomore wing from Indiana Wesleyan. Yes, NAIA school, but he averaged 20.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.1 blocks last year while being an NAIA first-team All-American. He was on campus as well as Elijah Hawkins starting on Saturday, April 27th. Now, interesting note about Buchanan. He also visited, Boise State last week. So that's really interesting from that regard. Not much on social here, but from what we're hearing in terms of with people boots on the ground out there in Lubbock over at the Scarlet and Black Insider, he has had a great visit, and Texas Tech is solidly in the mix there. Again, it sounds like it's going to come down to Boise State, Texas Tech. It's just what does JB want more in terms of maybe the developmental process or minutes right away? We'll see where it goes on that front, but Texas Tech is in a quote-unquote good spot. That was the quote that I got from a source discussing JB in his official visit out to the 806. Now, before we get into another portal target for the Red Raiders and one that it seems like Texas Tech has heavy interest in, I want you to do technically a couple of things for me here. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball all year long. I promise I'll have all the stuff back up here in the not too distant future, right in the middle of moving. But if you want to join almost 10,000 Texas Tech fans strong here on the most subscribed to Texas Tech YouTube channel. You know what to do. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. All right, let's jump into it. And the guy that we talked about late last week was Trazarien White. Again, still one of my favorite names when it comes down to anybody that Texas Tech has contacted in this portal cycle and really maybe ever. I know Adonis Arms was thrown out there a couple times. I like Adonis too, but I'm just saying, Trazarien White, it's a baller name. Anyway, 6'7", 190, 1 year of eligibility remaining. He is a Maxfield, Texas native. Does he want to come back to the Lone Star State? Potentially, but there is going to be a lot of interest from high major programs, and we'll give you a list of early contacts for him here in just a second. He averaged almost 20 points per game last year, 19.8 to be exact, almost 7 rebounds, 6.8, 1.6 assists, and shot 39% from three. He had a stellar junior season out there at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. The schools that have contacted White early on in the portal, I mentioned they are high major programs. You got Coach Cal at Arkansas. That's going to take me a second to get through that process in terms of Coach Cal at Arkansas. Very weird to say, but it is the truth in the world that we live in. Mississippi State, Baylor, SMU, Oklahoma, and West Virginia, alongside Texas Tech, were the early contacts in terms of the schools that reached out to White. Again, a Mansfield, Texas native. And I'll say this, as I mentioned last week, White is an extremely interesting portal target because I think he is a guy that, if you wanted to, could be a plug-and-play type guy for the Red Raiders in terms of the starting five if you wanted more length along the lines of Kevin Overton, Darrion Williams. If you wanted to go that traditional route, or I guess non-traditional route, it feels more traditional now in college basketball in the sense of just length everywhere, right? He's that kind of guy. He is a guy that when I watch his tape, I can't help but get flashbacks of a Davion Warren. Remember him in terms of his time out in the 806 when Texas Tech went to the Sweet 16 with Bryson Williams, Kevin O'Banner, and those guys as well. He's that type of player. That being said, it'll be a major recruiting battle to win Trazarien White in terms of his commitment in the transfer portal because there are a load of high major teams going after him right now. As I previously mentioned, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Baylor, SMU, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Texas Tech, just to name a few. It would not shock me if you start hearing visits from his camp in terms of where he could potentially go on OVs here in the not-too-distant future, and hopefully Texas Tech can land one of those. Now, again, the major news in today's video is Texas Tech did not land the commitment of Andrew Carr. He instead goes to the University of Kentucky to play for Mark Pope. Then you have Elijah Hawkins and Javan Buchanan on campus. And by all accounts, from what we've heard over at the Scarlet and Black Insider, which you can sign up for that and stay in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball at the drop of a hat. And trust me, I was dropping a lot of things moving this past weekend. You can go over there and join the fastest group of Texas Tech fans on the internet today over on the Scarlet and Black Insider. And what we've learned over there with Austin Massey, Jacob Harris, and myself is both JB and Elijah Hawkins had really good visits out to the 806, and Texas Tech is both, in a good position for both, I should say. And then, again, Trazarien White, Texas Tech early on in the contact process for him, and hopefully the Red Raiders can secure an official visit for him in the not-too-distant future. But I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, if you want to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech men's basketball all year long, do these 3 simple steps. Simply like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join almost 10,000 strong here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.